Welcome back. Early this year, I spoke to the CEO of a social media network designed for females called Giggle. Within days of testing advertisements, Facebook deemed Giggle offensive and censored the company's account, all because their platform was designed for women only. Despite this, the company started a Kickstarter crowdfunder to raise funds to expand the app. But surprise, surprise, they have been suspended from Kickstarter. I'm now joined by the CEO of Giggle, Sall Grover. Sall, thanks for joining us. What makes Giggle unique, and why is a startup by women for women being targeted like this?
So Giggle is unique because it's a social media and networking app for females, specifically like adult human females, which is apparently a very controversial thing to say these days. But starting a startup for anybody is difficult, and starting startups that are led by women is difficult. We've had this extra barrier because we're for women, and we're currently in this bizarre zeitgeist where doing something for women apparently makes you a bigot. And I will just say that, doing like Kickstarter crowdfunding wasn't our first choice. We wanted to actually do equity crowdfunding, but in Australia we couldn't find a company who would work with us because of the negativity around being called bigoted and transphobic. So it's been a struggle every step of the way.
And this is all because you want this social media space to be a safe space for women where they can converse with each other and not be accused of being TERFs or having just all these radical trans agenda discussions take over the site. So you just want to have a site for women where women can discuss whatever they want amongst themselves, and yet that is somehow highly controversial, so much so that you've been kicked off Kickstarter.
Yeah, well, so with Giggle, we've got different parts of the app. So there's Giggle Talk, which is the Twitter-like social media feed, and I actually found, you were just talking about it, and the Lee Sales article that came out today about women being abused on Twitter, and I was like, well, wouldn't it be great if somebody had created a place for women to be able to exist on the internet without that? And I have emailed ABC News many times to be heard about this, and they won't respond to me. So it's like, yes, we're getting kicked off Kickstarter because apparently we're bigoted, but then also, other than you, no Australian media will speak to me because it's an app for females, and I'm quite vocal about female rights and how important they are.
Well, it's all about female-only spaces. Now, we're talking about a digital space here, but we've also got this fight, and J.K. Rowling's probably the most prominent woman to be involved in this battle, because she's also taken a stand for female-only spaces, and these can include things like women's shelters, changing rooms, women's prisons even, and that has become a highly controversial issue. And Sally, it's split the feminist movement, which is really odd. You would think feminists would be united on this, but many feminists are siding with the trans activists and saying you must include trans women, whether it's a digital space or whether it's a physical space like a women's shelter or change room.
Yeah, I would argue they're not feminists. Feminism is for females. It's really simple. The name gives it away. I mean, there's no other way to look at it. And I'm all for, don't get me wrong, there's different ways where you can have women and trans women spaces, mixed sex spaces. I'm for male only spaces as well, especially for recreation and fun. Boy time is great. I'm for the marketplace having diversity and inclusion, and us all being able to go to little refuges and having choice of where we go and spend some time. So yes, there are some women who claim to be for mixed sex spaces, and great for them. They don't get to make the decision for every other woman in the world. If you are a woman who wants to have single sex toilets, prisons, sport, change rooms, rape crisis shelters, and then apps, we should be able to have that.
Absolutely, absolutely you should. And Sall Grover will keep up with your fight, and hopefully there's some good news around the corner. Thank you for joining us tonight.
Thank you so much.